Down 2-1 in their series against the Florida Panthers, and with their captain hurt, the Boston Bruins are officially in trouble.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoke to Be. Today is Saturday, May 11th. Thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine, free and available on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. The Bruins lost Game 3 to the Florida Panthers by a score of 6-2. Kind of closer and not really as close as it seemed on the scoreboard. We'll discuss why here in a moment. First, a quick reminder, you can find the podcast on social media at Locked NHL Bruins. And you can find me, my hockey thoughts, dad jokes, at Ian C. McLaren, a lifelong Bruins fan. Been covering this team for various outlets for about 20 years. And covered the NHL full-time for The Score for 5 years and have since been hosting this podcast. And that noise you just heard in the background was a Score notification letting me know that Brad Marchand is officially day-to-day after taking a hit from Sam Bennett in the first period of Game 3. Now, Marchand was able to remain in the game for a little bit, but did not come back for the third period and was officially ruled out and is now considered day-to-day. And if you look at the replay, it's clear that there were some shenanigans and liberties taken here on the part of Sam Bennett. He appears to, while delivering the hit, get his right hand, which was holding his stick at the time, right up in Marchand's face, delivering effectively a sucker punch, which was made even more devastating because he had his stick in his hand. Now, Jim Montgomery saying, in real time, my eyes weren't on the hit, but having seen it, there's a history there with Bennett. There's clearly evidence of what went on. On the other end, Florida Panthers head coach Paul Maurice saying, didn't look suspect to me, which is clearly false, and he's just playing that up. Now, Marchand officially day-to-day with Game 4 set for Sunday in Boston. Apparently, according to the Score story as well, Bennett will not face any supplemental discipline for the play, which is kind of hilarious considering the NHL had sent extra eyes to Boston to make sure there were no liberties taken in this game based on how Game 2 ended. So how can you possibly look at this and say there's no supplemental discipline that is warranted? Now, Marchand has been one of Boston's best skaters in the postseason, leads the team with 10 points in 10 games. Not clear at the moment whether or not he'll be able to play on Sunday. And to add insult to injury, today's his birthday. So he's probably not feeling too great on many levels. In practice, it was Jake DeBrusk skating with Morgan Geekie and David Pastrnak. Van Riemsdyk was bumped up to the second line with Zacha and Brazeau. Heinen was skating again with Coyle and Frederick, and then a fourth line of Jacob Lauko, Johnny Beecher, and Patrick Maroon. If the Bruins are to be without Brad Marchand for any length of time, that will obviously be devastating to their already dwindling hopes. And after last night's loss to the Panthers, Money Puck has their odds of advancing to the third round down to 24.2%. The Panthers, 75.7% favorites now to advance after taking a 2-1 series lead. And, the Bruins just once again failing to make much of a dent offensively in this one. the big story was the fact that they just could not get the puck on net. And the shot totals in this one were skewed towards Florida's favor, as it has been all series long. And the Bruins only able to muster 8 shots through the first 40 minutes of this game, which is just unacceptable in a playoff game. They were outshot 24-8 through 2 periods. They managed 9 shots in the third to make it somewhat more respectable, but still a 33-17 advantage for the Bruins. Now, they were still pretty much in this one until late in the second period when Mason Lohrei took a double minor for high sticking. The Panthers went on to score 2 goals on that man advantage and then came out in the third to make it 4-0 early on a Brandon Montour goal, another power play opportunity that was caused by just an egregious call on so many levels. Jacob Lauko was called for interference on Sergei Bobrovsky after being manhandled by Aaron Ekblad and driven into the net. There was absolutely nothing he could do on that play. Now, the Bruins did have some life after Lauko, fresh out of the box, came out and scored on Sergei Bobrovsky to make it 4-1. 3.5 minutes later, Jake DeBrusk made it 4-2. The Garden was bumping. The vibes were good, but the Panthers made it 5-2 on a empty net goal and then added a power play goal late in the third after Andrew Peeke was sent off for cross-checking Kevin Stenlund. So despite the ice being severely tilted in Florida's favor, the Bruins were still right there. They had some glorious chances when Jeremy Swayman was pulled. But at the end of the day, as has been the case in too many games this postseason, the Bruins came out of the gate so slow, outshot 13-3 in the first, 11-5 in the second, and then it was a case of too little, too late. And on paper, this series has been anything but even, and we'll discuss the underlying numbers and whether the Bruins have any chance of coming back in this series as the podcast continues. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and a lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. Last-minute deals, you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find seats in the same section and row for less. I love the views from your seat options. You know exactly what to expect when you arrive at the venue. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Game Time, last-minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. Level up your ride with eBay Motors. They have everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. And the guaranteed fit is available only to U.S. customers. Okay, so much criticism has been placed on Boston's defensemen in this series, and rightfully so. There have been some egregious giveaways, turnovers. I believe McAvoy and Lindholm are among the playoff leaders in giveaways. But it's my contention that Charlie McAvoy seems to be dealing with something health-wise, but the ice is so tilted in this series and the offense is failing to generate much of anything that there's a heavy workload being placed on these guys, and they basically have to be perfect in order to give the Bruins any chance of winning. And of course, that they have not been perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And Jeremy Swayman, who once was having legendary stats in net, his numbers have really fallen off over the course of the past couple games as a result. Now, if you look at the underlying numbers in this series, you see why the Bruins are having some problems. First of all, Jeremy Swayman last night with an .844 save percentage. He was up to .955 in the postseason. Over the past couple games, he's now fallen off to .931. Still very good numbers, but you can see the effect it's taken on his overall game here. If you look at natural stat trick, the Panthers have played 3 games here. At 5-on-5, the Panthers have 61% of the shot attempts, 61% of the shots. The goals at 5-on-5 are actually even in this series, 6 apiece. But of course, that is buffered by Boston's performance in game 1, where they won 5-1. The Panthers have a 63% advantage in scoring chances. High danger chances are closer, 52. But when it comes to scoring or expected goals, 56% advantage for the Panthers. And here's the thing: the Panthers aren't really outplaying the Bruins or outperforming the Bruins, say, in net. The Bruins have a better save percentage, 5-on-5, and a better shooting percentage, 5-on-5. But again, the Panthers are taking advantage of Boston's miscues, and the Bruins are not able to get much going power play-wise. The Panthers have 5 power play goals in this series, and only I don't think the Bruins have scored once on the power play in this series. That's been one of the big differentiators so far. And Sergei Bobrovsky with a perfect save percentage in 5-on-4 situations, and the Panthers have a 20% shooting percentage in those situations as well. In all situations, 63% shot attempt differential, 63% shot differential. They're outscoring the Bruins 13-8, and the Bruins have scored only 3 goals over the past 2 games, which is a huge problem. Now, despite the imbalanced scores, the Bruins still have the better save percentage in this series in all situations. Through 3 games, it's at 87.62. Florida, 86.89. And the Bruins showed it last night in game 3. Just get the puck on net. Sergei Bobrovsky is extremely vulnerable in net. He's not playing or stealing games by any stretch of the imagination. In the postseason, his save percentage is .892. And that's even less in this series. Boston's problem is an inability to penetrate the zone. The Panthers do have great neutral zone coverage. They're keeping the Bruins from penetrating the zone and then getting pucks on net. But once they do, they've shown that they can score. And there's some reason for hope there because of the fact that Sergei Bobrovsky has not been that good for Florida. However, if Brad Marchand is out, it removes one weapon. The Bruins are certainly showing their lack of creativity down the middle, lack of depth down the middle. Pavel Zacha with just an egregious turnover that led to the first Panthers goal. They could really use some scoring wingers as well. And again, a lot of the focus is on the defense, but when your forwards aren't doing anything and really sustaining play in the offensive zone, and you're spending your whole game in the defensive zone, there's going to be errors. There's going to be miscues, especially in these high fatigue situations where the Bruins have been rolling here at a high level dating back to the Toronto series. And Gary Galley on the Sportsnet broadcast said it well. If you are struggling to score against the Maple Leafs, as they were in the last few games of the series, you're going to have even more problems against a team like the Florida Panthers, who, if you've been listening to the podcast all season, have been tops in these underlying numbers all season long. They don't give up a lot of shots. They're a good possession team. And without Brad Marchand, it's going to be very difficult for the Bruins to get in this series. Their only hope is to somehow find ways to get more pucks on net. It's as simple as that. We saw it in the third period. Jacob Lauko, Jake DeBrusk getting pucks on net. And a lot of the Bruins' big guys have yet to show up in the series. David Pastrnak has yet to score. Neither has Brad Marchand. He might not get an opportunity. We'll update that ahead of Game 4 against the Panthers on Sunday. That's it for today's special bonus pod, my friends. Thank you so much for taking some time to listen. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms listening out there and mother figures. Don't forget to say Happy Mother's Day for the rest of you who are listening. And please do take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will talk to you again here after Game 4, because we're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, and we talk about the Boston Bruins every single day. Did you just chuckle?